Depeche Mode have just completed the Memento Mori World Tour. Let's talk all about it. A very warm welcome to you, my friend, wherever you may be in the world. Now, if you're watching this, you're obviously a Depeche Mode fan. So I want to invite you to join my brand new YouTube channel, the Depeche Mode Hub. So the reason I created that YouTube channel was really for you, the Depeche Mode fans. Now, obviously, Depeche Mode has been kind of like the foundation and the cornerstone of this channel ever since I started it. And, you know, for good or for bad. Now, the downside to that is that I do want to move the channel into different directions. But the whole Depeche Mode thing is kind of overshadowing what I do. Not in a bad way, but there are those of you who watch my channel because you like what I do, thankfully. But there are those of you who only watch my channel because of the Depeche Mode stuff. Now, the dilemma arises when people who watch my channel for only Depeche Mode stuff, when I do other stuff, then you don't watch my videos. So to cut a long, boring story short, I decided that the best way forward was to have a separate, dedicated YouTube channel, especially dedicated to Depeche Mode. So when you subscribe to that Depeche Mode Hub, you will find all my legacy content there. The idea is to update it frequently, probably on a weekly basis, with lots of little snippets and things. So it's almost going to be like I don't want to say a dumping ground, but like a place where I can just, you know, fire quick Depeche Mode videos, even if it's like a 3-minute segment or something. And I know there is a great demand for that because, you know, based on the feedback I get. So this channel here, the Vaughn George channel, will be, you know, it'll carry on, and there will be Depeche Mode content here, of course. But the Depeche Mode Hub is going to be the place where all the Depeche Mode stuff goes, with all the juicy stuff. So it'll all be explained there. All I need you to do for now is to please subscribe to that channel. You can find the link in the description below. It's called the Depeche Mode Hub. So I'm just looking at the website, which is depechemode.com now. And if you go onto the website and you click on tours, it comes up now with past tours, and which is quite interesting. It's a very good website, actually. They've actually got all the dates, and there's a set list next to every date, which is interesting. So according to these dates, this Memento Mori tour kicked off on March the 23rd, 2023. And there's been leg 1, which was the North American leg. Then there was leg 2, which was Europe. And then there was leg 3, which was North America again. And then leg 4, which was Europe again. And I know there's been some complaints from Depeche Mode fans who are not in America and Europe, sort of saying, well, Depeche Mode, how can you call this a world tour? Because it's not really a world tour. It's mainly just North America and Europe. So I get that. And, you know, of course, there are fans in, you know, places like Australia that, you know, didn't get a chance to see them. But I can understand, you know, putting a show on this size and then, you know, moving it around the world, you know, it's a logistics nightmare. So it makes sense that they concentrate on, you know, America and Europe. Sorry, guys. I feel your pain, you know, if you want to see this band live. Now, it does take me back to the time when they did the devotional show. That was a huge undertaking. And then what they did was they scaled it down, and we got the Exotic Tour. And that was, the Exotic Tour was essentially the devotional tour, but on a smaller scale. And that was really, you know, for the Southern Hemisphere and places like that. I think Australia as well. I don't know if they did Australia with devotional and stuff, but I think you know the guys are, you know, they're not that young anymore. They're in their 60s and stuff, and you know, I think to take the show as far as Australia and those places is it's probably not just a logistical nightmare, but I think that, you know, it's tiring. But I have to give them, I mean, if you've ever done live performances or touring, if you're a musician, or you'll know how hard work it is. And of course, when you're gigging on the level of Depeche Mode, you know, there are certain luxuries. You know, you're not setting up your own gear and things like that. But I mean, just looking at the dates, this has been pretty brutal. This would be pretty brutal for anyone in their 20s, and for Dave and Martin and Christian and Peter now, who I believe are also in their 60s. This must be quite grueling. I mean, if you just look at the dates, I invite you to look this up on DepecheMode.com and just go through the list. It's relentless. It's absolutely quite grueling, impressive. So coming to my thoughts on the Memento Mori tour, I will link these videos that I did earlier. If you guys remember, I did my initial reaction video to Memento Mori, and I was impressed with Memento Mori because I think you guys know I was not a fan of Spirit nor the tour. I was very disappointed in Spirit, and I was excited when I heard Memento Mori. I was nervous after Spirit when they said they're going to release an album, because I just thought, oh please, if you're going to give us another album like Spirit, maybe it's best you just stop. Hey man, I don't hold back on my criticism. So when I heard Ghosts again, I instantly liked it. And when the album dropped, you can check out my reaction video, I really enjoyed it. And I said that Memento Mori was a return to form. It's certainly not up there with their best albums, as far as, my personal opinion. But it's certainly better than the last three they've done. And as I said, a really good return to sort of form. And the tour which followed, which is the Memento Mori tour, I think was fantastic. If you guys saw that rant video I did where I was ranting about the Spirits of the Forest, everything that I ranted about in that video seems to have been put right in this tour. Even the drumming, which I'm not a fan of, seems to have been toned down and, fits in better with the live shows now. So all in all, I think, you can't knock this. It's a massive production. I do, of course, have my opinions, and you can check out the video I did in the two shows which I went to see. I went to see the Twickenham show last year in the summer, and then at the beginning of this year, I went to see them in the UK again in the O2 Arena, because I wanted to see the show indoors this time. And you can check out my reviews. My reviews were fundamentally positive. I did enjoy the shows. I mean, what's not to like? The scale and everything was just immense and immaculate. But just to sort of summarize some of my feelings, which I put into those review videos. The joke was, some of you said, "Oh, Vaughn, do you think Depeche Mode watched your previous video because the drumming is better this time?" And it was better this time. These are all just personal opinions. I'm not saying I'm right, but as far as taste is concerned, I just don't generally like the particular drum sound they're using, and particularly the snare. To me, when it comes to rock drums, the snare is a very important element. And although Christian's drum kit is physically impressive looking, and he's a very good drummer, I always have to get that in. I don't want to take it away from him, but there's just something, the way that the drum kit is mic'd up, or the way it's processed, it just sounds very compressed, and don't like the snare sound. And then there were things like the Black Celebration. The actual song sounded great until the drumming was just a little bit erratic and over the top. But generally, I think everything on this tour was far better than the Spirit tour. Some other comments and little niggly bits, and look, I'm very passionate about this band, and I think you all know this. Were just some of the sound selections. For instance, on "Enjoy the Silence," we've got that choir sound, the ah, which is a very excuse me. It's a very iconic sound, and I just get the feeling that they're sort of, the attention to detail on some of the iconic sounds is not there anymore. It's almost like, oh, we need a choir sound for this. Pete, just flick through the presets there. And he goes, how about this one? Yeah, that'll do. Just, there is a feeling of that. Also, like when I heard Behind the Wheel on one of the shows, the lead sound, the bang, 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 that very iconic sound. It just didn't sound right. It was, to me, it was played in the wrong octave, and it was just the wrong type of sound. And, for those of you who think I'm hating or getting a bit anal, there's no hate here. It's coming from a place of love, really. And it's just that, if you look at the legacy of the sort of original Depeche Mode, it was like the attention to detail in every sound was very, very important. There was no element of, oh, that'll do. Everything was meticulous. And I get the feeling that some of the sounds used on the live performance, were a little bit like, okay, yeah, that'll do. And those being my main sort of gripes, and they're not big gripes, they're just sort of personal opinions. I think the set lists were something that really sort of disappointed me. Now, I've said this before in the videos, and I'm going to say it again for those of you who have not seen the previous videos. Now, when you've been at it as long as what Depeche Mode have, it's difficult because you now have all these albums and you have a show which is typically about between 20 and 23, maybe 24 songs. And you've got to try and get this show to represent all your albums, but at the same time, you're trying to promote a new album. So I've spoken about the non-negotiables. And what I mean by non-negotiables are, there are certain songs that they have to perform. Every band has their songs that they just have to perform. So in Depeche Mode's case, songs like Stripped, Never Let Me Down Again, Personal Jesus, Enjoy the Silence, those songs are what you call non-negotiables. They just absolutely have to perform those. Now, typically on a Depeche Mode show, there are probably about 5 or 6 non-negotiables. These are songs that have to be performed on every single Depeche Mode show. I mean, you can't imagine Depeche Mode going live and not doing Enjoy the Silence or Never Let Me Down Again or Personal Jesus. So bearing in mind, you've now got a set list of about 20 or so songs. You've got your 6 non-negotiable songs. That only leaves you with about 14 or 16 songs that you can play. Then within that, you probably want to play at least 5 songs from your new album, because that's the whole idea with a tour, is to promote a new album. Then, of course, the rest are slots for, you've got about probably now 12 slots left for, legacy songs. But I do think this is where they were a little bit, I don't want to say lazy, but I just think they could have been more creative. I mean, just sort of pulling up some of the set lists here. And there were variations, but fundamentally, I've just pulled up a set list here from July the 4th. And just looking at the set list, it was typically the intro. I like the intro. Cosmos Is Mine. I've said this on my reviews. My Cosmos Is Mine is an interesting track. It's very experimental. I don't feel it works very well live, to be fair, because it's very sort of boomy and cluttered. But so far as a theatrical show, I understand that they would start off with My Cosmos Is Mine. I get that. I just feel, and I said this in my previous review, I think by the time they got to leg 4, I think they should have switched it up a bit, because let's face it, let's just be honest. I don't think anyone was jumping up and down when My Cosmos Is Mine came on, because it's a little bit like it starts and it seems to go on forever. And you're kind of like, okay. Then it gets to that part. No war, no fear. No. It's a bit depressing. Let's face it. I would have liked to have seen them round about leg 3 or 4 start off with a new song. If they wanted to stick with tradition and start with always starting with a song from a new album, why not start it with People Are Good? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, I've obviously not watched every single show, but I don't think People Are Good was performed on any of the live shows, was it? I don't think it was. Now think of this, that intro when they come on, it's got like this siren, and this real sort of slow pace. It worked really, really well. I mean, I got goose flesh, it was great. So they walk on. Now imagine if they walked on and they went straight on into something like People Are Good. People Are Good, with that sort of craft work. That song was very sort of like craft work influenced, as a lot of you have said. But that would be a great way to start the show, as opposed to the, My Cosmos Is Mine, which is very downbeat. Now, I'm not hating on it. Do that for the first 2 legs of the tour, but then, change it up a bit. And this is where my main criticism of the show is the fact that I think the set list could have been so much more creative. Once again, they have such a huge back catalogue of interesting songs, and songs like It's No Good, it was good to hear that again. Sister of Night was great. In Your Room, they're all great songs. I just feel that a pain that I'm used to. Certainly this version, this do-do-do-do, that version. I mean, that song has become a pain that I think we're all used to. I think I could really think just do away with that one. John the Revelator as well. Once again, not bad song, but there are better songs that I feel they could do. And I don't think that John the Revelator comes across that well live. Now, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just that, look, everything's on a very high level here. So when things drop to sort of about 7 or 6 out of 10, then I just don't feel John the Revelator is strong enough to be on a Depeche Mode set list that has got about 23 songs on it, and certainly a pain that I'm used to. Just get rid. I mean, I like the album version, but the do 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 do. I know that's Peter Gaudino's moment. It's like, okay, Peter's learned this song on the bass. Let's let him play it. Okay, but yeah, I'm just really not feeling that song. In fact, that's the song where I usually go. I usually go to the bathroom, take a piss, or get a beer. Just not a fan. Now, just looking at some of the set lists at random, I can see things like World in My Eyes, played every night. And I loved what they did, having Fletcher's face on the screen in the background. I think that was a really, really nice touch. Very classy. I love that. But yeah, once again, I'm seeing, John the Revelator on several and pain that I'm used to. And also here on the encores, they had this thing where they did Waiting for the Night. I think that worked really, really well. I really enjoyed that. I like the idea of Martin and Dave standing in the front there. It was very, very intimate. And then just, Peter just playing Waiting for the Night on the piano. I think it worked really, really well. I am, as a keyboardist and a pianist myself, I'm a big fan of the Martin Gore acoustic set, the acoustic part of the show. I really enjoy that. I loved the way Martin sang Soul with Me. That sounded amazing. And what was the other? Oh, it's Heaven. Yes, Martin did Heaven on piano, and that was phenomenal as well. So, no complaints on Martin's sort of acoustic set. The sort of set in the middle where he does his piano set with Peter. I always enjoy it. I just felt that Strange Love, for some reason, you'd think it would work very well on the piano, but it just didn't resonate with me that much. I've also mentioned this on my review that songs like Stripped and Black Celebration have now been transposed a semitone lower, obviously because it's easier for them to sing. But sometimes just dropping the key that semitone lower can sometimes really negatively impact the energy of the track. And, the change in key is so subtle that I think a lot of people wouldn't have noticed it. In fact, I didn't even notice it being a musician, but it's when I watched the videos back on YouTube, I noticed that, they'd changed the key. So yeah, I'm being very, very in-depth, and it might sound like I'm being overly critical here, but hey man, just go through my channel and you'll see I've analyzed this band so much. This is the band that got me into music, and a lot of others as well. So as much as I love them, I almost hold them to a higher standard than any other band because I'm very, very passionate about them. Also, after the encore, they would typically do 4 songs, and on this particular, I'm just looking at a show now from July the 12th in Stadio Olimpico in Rome, and after the encore, they did Waiting for the Night. Once again, I love the Waiting for the Night. And then they would do Just Can't Get Enough, followed by Never Let Me Down Again and Personal Jesus. And those 4 songs after the encore would change sometimes. I think after the encore, certainly the show I was at, after the encore, they did Condemnation. And the Condemnation version these days is a lot more mellow than it used to be in Dave Gahan's heyday. His voice has changed, so they've gone for a more mellow approach, which I'm not really a fan of, but hey man, it is what it is. I enjoyed the Waiting for the Night duet that Martin and Dave did together. And then they do Just Can't Get Enough. I would have liked to have seen Photographic played instead of Just Can't Get Enough. Now, once again, there's nothing wrong with Just Can't Get Enough, although I think we've all heard it to death. It would have been nice that in the encore, at certain shows, they would switch it up a bit, like, play a song like Photographic. And I think a lot of you have suggested Photographic. Never Let Me Down Again, Personal Jesus, once again, 2 non-negotiable songs which have to be performed. All in all, it was, great production. I've obviously got my opinion, and they're just my opinion. You don't have to go by it. We're just having a discussion here. And indeed, I'd like to hear your opinion in the comments below. There seem to be a lot of eventful things happening on this tour. I did see something that they haven't done before, and Dave seemed to sing happy birthday to certain people in the audience, which was a nice touch. And then I think when they went to Spain, there was the flamenco dancer, which some of you weren't having. There were a lot of mixed opinions on that. I do recall seeing some video footage from a show in America somewhere where a fight broke out in the front, and these guys were knocking the 10 bells of shit out of each other. That's an English saying. And I think Dave stopped. He went, whoa, 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 and he stopped. He stopped the show, and he. That was quite interesting. In fact, these are little videos I want to react to, and that is why I've set up the Depeche Mode hub, so I can do these little short bite-sized chunks of Depeche Mode videos. So once again, please go now and sign up to my Depeche Mode hub YouTube channel. I promise you're going to love it there, and all things Depeche Mode, nothing else, but just all things Depeche Mode. So the show's over now. Started on March the 23rd, 2023, and the final show was April the 8th, 2024. So, Depeche Mode really, really work very hard when they go touring. And I think there was a rumor that started. People have been contacting me, and someone showed me a screenshot of a Facebook page somewhere where apparently Dave Vaughn said this is the last tour. Bullshit. It won't be the last tour. I've got visions of Mr. Kessler going, money, 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 money. No. Interesting, there was a video clip of Peter Gaudino which surfaced somewhere on social media. I can't remember where it was, but he was out having a coffee somewhere in the street, and someone asked him for an autograph, and one of the questions was, are you going to stop, or is it going to carry on, or something like that? And Peter obviously can't speak on behalf of the band because he's just a hired gun. But he did say something along the lines of, no, well, as long as we're healthy, we'll keep going. Something like that. I am paraphrasing. And in response to the rumors that this is the end of them, no, I don't think so. I think we're good to get another tour out of them. I do think what will happen is, and I don't want to go off topic too much. I think what will happen eventually is the band will stop. It'll have to, but I think Dave will sort of move on into his Soul Savers thing, and I think Martin will probably segue into his techno, his modular synth stuff, and who knows, but there's still a lot of mileage left in them. I've said this before many times. I think Dave Vaughn is the most outstanding frontman, in electronic music. I can't think of many other frontmen that stand out more than Dave Vaughn. I can think of maybe Freddie Mercury and things like that, but Dave Vaughn certainly is an outstanding frontman. And his energy and everything. He's very flamboyant. I know some of you have been very critical on his dancing these days. Some people think he's getting too Mick Jaggerish and stuff, and I don't really have an opinion on it. I think he puts a lot into the performances, and it's a tough job. I think to do shows that big, that frequently, and I can't criticize Dave for any of that. I think he's one of the most outstanding frontmen of all time. Okay, so we've got a lot more to come, my friends. The Depeche Mode album review series, we've got the episodes in production, and also we have been delayed on the Alan Wilder album review series that is in production at the moment. I'm sorry, I've got a lot on my plate, as I'm sure you do as well, but we're just trying to systematically get all this content finished and uploaded, and everything that I've promised you will be available in due course. Now, I want to hear from you, my friend. Did you go to any of these shows? Are you sad that it's over? Do you think the band are over? I don't think they are. Anything you'd like to say in the comments below, reach out to me. Let me know which show you went to. Anything memorable you'd like to say? I'd love to hear from you. And that's it for now, my friends. Please do subscribe, and also subscribe to the new Depeche Mode Hub YouTube channel. And I will see you around, either at a gig or here on the YouTube channel. Lots of love. Adios.